Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Emmanuel, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Spence.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Nick is busy this morning.
He's on his private jet,
Yeah. Katie
flying
is
to an important meeting.
out of town on a family matter. As far as I know, they're still out of town. And Gal is going to join us in a few minutes. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear.
So did you sign up for Threads yet?
No.
Oh.
There's one really bad thing about it that we're talking about is, and people that are signing up for it should be aware of it. Now let's talk about what I mean. There's probably a lot of people, because Kathy yesterday asked me, "What is Threads?" I said, "I have no idea. I'm not following Facebook and Instagram." But after surpassing 10 million signups in the first 7 hours, Meta's new Twitter rival, Threads, has reached a new milestone, 30 million in less than 24 hours. And it passed 2 million signups in its first 2 hours live in the app store and shows no signs of slowing down. So it's a Twitter alternative. Now,
But
Twitter, what?
There's butts.
Yeah. One of the butts is the Threads is drawing users at an astounding pace, massing 10 million signups in just 7 hours, according to co-founder and chief executive Mark Zuckerberg. But the highly anticipated new service, which requires an Instagram account for onboarding, features an intriguing stipulation. Deleting a Thread account terminates the linked Instagram account. So you're going to lose the Instagram.
Yes.
In a supplemental privacy policy, supplemental privacy policy, Meta explains you may deactivate your Thread profile at any time, but your Threads profile can only be deleted by deleting your Instagram account. So people who would go in and say, "Oh, you know what? I don't care about that," and delete their profile, at the same time, they will be deleting their Instagram account. You need to be very aware of that. That's bad.
Now, I'm not aware of what in the terms of agreement with Twitter, what they collect.
Well,
but it says here that the Threads account, now this is a summary, this is not detailed information.
Yeah.
Will collect data on the user's health and fitness, financial information, contact information, user content, browsing history, usage data, diagnostic purchases, location contacts, search history, identifiers, and other sensitive information.
Yep. Oh, good morning, guys.
Good
Hello,
morning.
Gal.
Um,
So but this is a news story. This is not, I'm not
yeah,
looking at the user agreement to
but now
confirm that this is what it says. But
you mentioned Twitter.
yeah,
So Twitter is threatening legal action against Meta over its new text-based Twitter killer platform, accusing the social media giant of poaching former employees to create a copycat application.
interesting. Well, here
S-
here is an actual a screen capture of the description from the App Store,
And
and it does say here, data linked to you. The following data will be collected and linked to your identity: health and fitness, financial information, contact info, user content, browsing history, usage data, diagnostics, purchase, location, contacts, screen history, search history, identifiers, sensitive info, and other data. And that was posted on Twitter by somebody. So here's what Threads does. And then the the comments about them are saying this is a sanely run app. So Elon Musk says, thank goodness they're so sanely run.
uh, Gal, are
So
you following that?
I
Thre-
mean,
Threads,
I installed it, looked at it. I will probably not use it.
Your audio is kind of low.
My audio is kind of low.
Yeah,
Probably
we
will
keep going. I
adjust.
mean, yeah, we can hear
Yeah, I
you.
think it usually adjusts
Okay. Yeah, so you
sorry
installed
about
it.
that. I installed it. I will probably not be using it. Uh, I don't really use Instagram either, right?
Okay.
I follow on Instagram two people. That's it. Like they post photos of the kids, their family. That's what I'm interested in. So I don't consume content that way. I think the only place I really spent time on lately is Reddit. And even that is sort of fading to the background because there are some very interesting development. Threads is one of those symptoms. So there is a I think we talked about the Fediverse in the past. And Threads, one of the interesting aspects of Threads is they claim not now, not immediately, but in the future they will be connecting to the Fediverse. What does that mean? So I'll do some explanation because I know the Fediverse is there's probably 50% of our listeners who heard the name and most of them don't know what that is. So think about federated services, right? Federated services, email, DNS, all of our cell services are federated services. Uh, it means a user from one service, right, that is connected to a certain service that runs on their set of servers can communicate seamlessly with a user on another service. That's basically what federated means.
Okay.
Uh, uh, on top of that, right, there is completely distributed federation, which means it's not only big systems, but you can also self-host your instance of that, and you can still interconnect it. So there are once Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and and the whole Web 2.0 fashion started. Basically, there was also the realization that these are all centralized, and we're stepping back. Right? If the internet was democratization of content and access, Web 2.0 seemed at first as that democratization, but it also meant all of my data is put on your server and I have zero control over it, basically.
Mm.
Exactly what Spence just read, right? The end user license agreements, they all were very draconian. And it also meant that even if the end user license would change, right? It's still in the control of whoever is hosting it. So uh, the techs around started thinking, okay, how do we make this same cool thing that draws people in, but make it safer, make it more private? And that's when distributed social media started to develop. The problem with it, though, is that this usually draws only techies, right? I mean, grandma doesn't care about how to run her own server. Okay, so how do we make it accessible? So one of the things that happened was this 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 was happening in the background. Uh, One of the first ones was Diaspora. Uh, then Mastodon became really really popular, uh, still among tech people mostly. Then there were all of the issues around free speech and uh, right wing speech on left wing controlled platform, and that gave another boost to Mastodon as a technology, not as an entire system. If you remember Gab, right? They uh, they developed their own. The whole idea is that Gab, although they're developed on the same platform, they are also sort of disconnected from the Fediverse because the runners of the main Mastodon systems they said they don't want to do anything with Gap, right? So it also shows that it can create fractions, but it can still create this distributed. Me as a user, theoretically, I can still be connected to both, right? It 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 creates a mesh and it creates choice from the user.
Okay.
So um, now with Reddit going through changes and threads saying they're going to connect to the Fediverse, I think it's going to give a boost to the Fediverse even more. And now, yes, people who are not necessarily technical will still look for servers that are alternative. The alternative service to Reddit is Lemmy right now. uh, I don't know if it's the only one, and I don't know if it's the one that will thrive. But it seems like the running successful right now. There are some clients that are free to use on it on mobile, and the use and feel of these apps and the websites is very very akin to Reddit. And there has been a major exodus of users from Reddit to Lemmy on different, and this is the nice thing, on different servers, not just the main Lemmy server, which was run as a demo. That server actually got knocked down a couple of times, more than a couple of times during that exodus, when people uh, didn't realize at first that they shouldn't necessarily subscribe through login register through the main server, because that causes that server to overload. And these are people that have no plans on running enterprise level services, right? They just want to hang out, right? And this is the server that they created with the technology that they came up. But there's a whole spectrum of service servers right now running Lemmy, and some of them are quite busy. Not busy like Reddit, not hundreds of thousands of users on a server, right? Nothing like that. But you do have posts with like 50 responses. Right, that there's activity, something that was very rare in these services before, because they were like more of a test
Hmm.
scenario. Uh, One of the interesting bits from this week was the moment Threads came out, Lemmy notified its users, "Hey guys, just to let you know, we're not going to connect. We're blocking Threads from the get go. Right? This
Wow.
is a decision we already got. Threads will not be able to connect to this community." Uh, that's from the main Lemmy server. This is not forced on the entire community, though, right? Because I can register. I'm not registered on the main Lemmy server. I'm registered on another one, uh, InfoSec Pub, right? And they can choose to do something else. And so I I I connected to them because first I wanted to see how this works. I I feel if I'm going to keep on using this, I'm probably going to just create my own and connect with that.
Mhm.
And so host my own and connect with that. So this is a tipping point, another tipping point. I don't think it's the tipping point. I still think this is going to remain mostly technical content. But there's starting to be, the jokes channel and I've even seen at least one feed showing up from a server pushing porn, right? So it's starting to be non-technical. So it's getting there,
So there's
and it's
technical
starting to
porn and non.
look more like Reddit than something technical. What's that, Sven?
So there's technical porn and non-technical porn.
Well, porn usually is not really that technical. Uh, I mean, unless you're studying biology, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Oh boy.
Right.
yeah, but this is an indication that people who are not necessarily interested just in tech, right, are finding an audience. That's why I mentioned it. Right? I'm not interested in it, but it is an indication that is pulling another type of crowd.
Mhm.
So if you are a person who is currently out there on Facebook, Instagram, all the popular platforms, and you know their data is collected there, how do you free yourself? How does the Fediverse free you from? You'd have to eliminate all those accounts. And
I
if
mean,
you want to pull
yes.
your if you want to pull your data back in and control it yourself, will you have does that mean when they say they're connected to the Fediverse that you'll be able to communicate with people on those platforms without exposing your data?
Well, if I send you an email, right, and I'm using Gmail and you're using Delta Force, both Delta Force and Gmail are exposed to both of our copy of that email.
Right.
Okay, so let's be realistic here. We're still exposed, right? And we're using social media means I am exposing myself. The difference between the Fediverse and let's say Facebook, in Facebook, the only control I have over the data is whether I'm exposed to a friend or not. But to Facebook, I'm 100% exposed.
Yeah, and
Okay.
that's what I mean. Is how do you
Right.
scrub yourself out of that so you're not.
Well, scrubbing yourself out of that is trusting regulation and going through the process in Facebook of deleting the data, right? That's one. Number two is if you're using social media, know that whatever you decide to make public, right, is going
Yes.
to be exposed. If you are communicating with the user that is running on Facebook's servers is going to be exposed to that part that you're communicating with them. It's your
So what
choice.
what I'm thinking is like Facebook obviously makes money off of scrubbing and selling information.
Of
And
course.
so they why would they I guess this sounds like an attempt that we want you to stay on Facebook, but we'll let you have access to the Fediverse. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's to
And
prevent people from jumping ship and going somewhere else. Sort
well,
of.
I don't know if it's so much to prevent people from jumping ship as it is uh um it's probably that, right? It's we're going to make the Fediverse very, very convenient for you, right?
Mm,
And the prices you stay with us, yes. I mean,
yeah.
realistically, right? Most people do not care, right? Or they're or if they think they care, they are not aware of what's going on, right? What's going on behind the scenes. But that's true for any field,
Yeah.
right? We do not know what's going on with the cell towers. We do not know none of us are experts, right? In everything. We do not know what goes into our food. We do not, right? It's like we do not know. So uh, most of the users of Facebook, of Meta, of Twitter, they do not know what's going on with their data. Not really. Nobody reads the end user license unless they're a lawyer, right? So it's we don't know.
All right. So how expert are you in raising your audio level? Because it's not
Again,
work. It's not working.
I'll look at it.
It's not changing.
Okay, okay. I will give it a
It's,
go.
you're about
This
to.
is me letting Zoom automatically adjust my
Okay,
microphone
now
volume.
it's
Is
That's
that
good.
already
better?
better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So Zoom knows what it's doing.
It was on automatic?
No, it was an off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you sound the same as Spence.
I'm just
Um
kidding.
the thing I mean, I don't think I have an Instagram account. I don't think I ever set up an Instagram account. And I definitely don't follow or post anything other than when we're live. I'm on Facebook, but that's about the only thing that I do on Facebook. Um, what I'm still wondering what would happen to somebody who cancels their threads and loses their Instagram. What
I don't think
is
they're losing.
what?
I don't think they're losing. You cancel thread, you don't lose
Yes, you
Instagram.
are. So you didn't hear the whole thing. That's what they were saying here. They said that according to co-founder, a highly anticipated new service which requires an Instagram account for onboarding features an intriguing stipulation. Deleting a Threads account terminates the link Instagram account. In a supplemental
Okay.
privacy policy, they explain that you may deactivate your Threads profile at any time, but your Threads profile can only be deleted by deleting your Instagram account.
Yeah,
So,
because it's realistically, right? Let's just talk technology here for a
yeah,
sec. Instagram and threads are not really different. It's just threads is finally an option to post text based content, right? And links on a platform that didn't allow it before.
which one? Which
Thankfully,
which one did not allow?
Instagram only allowed the only way to post on Instagram is to post an image or a video.
Okay,
Okay.
got you.
And not only that, it's like you cannot take somebody else's post and say, okay, let's reshare that, right? That doesn't work either.
Okay,
Instagram is for creators of content. That's how it started.
okay,
So that's how the process works, the workflow works. And so when Thread, it's just another aspect of it. They already did it like at least once, if not twice, with videos. One time it was called I think just videos, and the second time it was called Reels, right?
I remember
Now, the
Reels. Yeah.
moment you activate that feature, right, it doesn't go away because it's there. So if you posted into it, yeah, it's part of the account. Threads is also, it's just another aspect of that. For now, they issued a separate application to interact with that aspect. I am guessing it's going to be incorporated or they'll split it for some reason, but it doesn't really matter. It's just like a Facebook wall. So now Instagram is exactly like Facebook. Nothing changed. It's not like a completely new service.
mhm,
Something that is interesting though is because they're doing it on a separate app, this one is is interesting. The fact that you're saying that that you cannot delete it unless you could delete it their account is it does have a somewhat different social graph. It tries to import your social graph, but you can choose who to follow and not to follow within that social graph, right? So uh, the social interconnection of threads theoretically is different. So the fact that you cannot delete it, it might bug some people. Uh, I mean, if you already are signed up to one service, it means nothing if you want to delete another service of them. So at least they're not hiding the fact.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like, yeah,
Yeah. All right. Here's something. I mean, we're talking about data and going different places, you know. Google updated its privacy policy over the weekend, explicitly saying the company reserves the right to scrape just about everything you post online to build its AI tools. If Google can read your words, assume they belong to the company now and expect that they are nesting somewhere in the bowels of a chatbot. Google uses information to improve our services and to develop new products, features, and technologies that benefit our users and the public. That's what the new policy says. For example, we use publicly available information to help train Google's AI models and build products and features like Google Translate, Bard, and Cloud AI capability. So now they're telling you that if they can, anything that you post that they can read, which is anything that you post, they can use. Now, I have one problem with this. I mean, I have more than one problem with it. But what happen if I don't have a Google account? I'm not part of the Google ecosystem.
that's what I'm saying. It's like, so what does this, like, how does this change reality in any way?
It
First of all,
tells you.
it was
Oh,
already,
I know.
yeah,
It's already is like this, but now they're
yeah.
telling you that everybody always say, oh yeah, they get all my information, but it was always something that people assumed that they did and they figured out that they now it's official.
No, but now, but this is about something else. This is about publicly available data,
Correct.
right? When
Correct.
we search the web, that is about publicly available data as well. So I'm trying to understand, like, what's the difference?
Look,
I
if it's
wonder
not
that, like, I think that that was already there before. That's how I feel. So I don't know. I need to check on the changes because
okay.
it feels like somebody's making a big noise about something that was already there. It's just the words barred and was added for the AI, right? They already did that for the search engine. You search on you search in their site, right?
Yeah.
And you get results from other pages that have nothing to do with Google, and you see the content. So that means they're using the content.
I I
That's what I mean.
oh, well, yes, that's true, but using it for to show you is one thing. Using it for future
Well,
is
now they're saying instead of just our web crawler, right?
yeah,
We're also using it for bar.
right.
Um, yeah. The
Huh?
only thing concerning here is they do not explain how they are filtering Bard and how they are controlling Bard. It's just about the privacy policy, and yeah, I think we all assumed that that was the case.
Well, if they're saying if Google can read your words, assume they belong to the company now, that means
Yeah,
anything.
I don't think that's in the privacy. That's in the interpretation, right? That's
Yeah,
in
that's
the
correct.
article.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
opinion of the writer.
yeah,
Yeah, you're right.
yeah.
You're right.
That was true always.
And on the same subject, Sweden's data protection watchdog has issued a couple of fines in relation to exports of European users' data via Google Analytics,
Hmm,
which it
that's good.
found breached the bloc's privacy rulebook owing to risk posed by US government surveillance. It has also warned other companies against use of Google's tool. So if they tell other
Yeah.
companies don't use Google Analytics, the
Yeah. This
fines, what?
I, this is starting to be a bit nuts. So Google Analytics, right? It's embedded code in your website.
Yeah,
Let's say you are a website running in the US. Okay,
right.
you're a US based company. Let's say you don't even sell anything to the EU. Okay, you just, I don't know, post music. Okay,
Yeah,
and show ads. So Google Analytics collects information about your site,
about other people coming to your site, about
right?
what?
About who
Yeah,
are the people who are
yeah,
coming to my site.
right.
And now, and European protection protects the data collected about their citizens.
Correct.
Okay. So Sweden is saying this website here is using Google Analytics, and it means that they're collecting in the US, right? If it's based in the US,
Hmm.
uh, in the US, there is data about European citizens,
Correct.
right? And I am starting to think that this is where regulation starts to go haywire, right? They're trying to block that. And I understand that, but this is where I go with the technology more than I go with human train of thought. They want to control where their data is stored. They want Swedish or European data to be stored in Europe, right, where it can be better controlled. It's a bit like the discussion about what goes on with TikTok and the US, right? The US wants all of the data about TikTok users to be stored on US soil. So um, I, I'm not sure I'm with them on this one. I don't think there's a good way to stop it. I don't think there should be a good way to stop it. I think it overcomplicates things, and it doesn't necessarily makes anything safer. Uh, they should allow a way. I would love to see these creating committees, right, come up with good technical suggestions, like allow me as a user, right, when I'm working with a lawful service, like a service that abides the law, right, allow me to opt out of everything. Just, a la carte, make me choose what I want out of that service. Do that, and it doesn't matter where they store it. The moment they allow to be regulated because they abide the law, right? That is what I should trust. I should trust the law is working for me. Uh, Hunting technology services just because they are hosted in a different location, that's just I don't know.
I
That's sort
think,
of nationalism all over again, just with
yeah, but
technology.
I think
We're losing something here.
they already tried to get Google and Facebook and all these to allow people to opt out of this and opt out. The companies will never do it because that's how they make their money
Yeah,
from
but
the data.
yes and
So
no, right?
where
So
why
I mean,
is
you do get the options to delete, to scrub properly. That already exists. Next step would be allow me to shield myself and decide how I'm exposed, and
and
it'll get there. I think it will get there.
hopefully, but well, maybe now the way to do it because they're not doing it. The companies are not going to do it. then fines like these will say, "Oh, you know what? We can't continuously get those fines. Let's do something," or
I hope.
the EU, and then maybe the US will look at GDPR and say, "Hey, we want to put it here too," and then it works. But it's still going to be the same for other countries
Well,
are going to.
you do have aspects of GDPR already in the States, right? California has
Yeah,
their
they have
law, right?
aspects
Yeah,
of it, right?
yeah.
The problem why it's just aspects is because there's money involved,
Yeah,
and they
always.
can't. They don't want to do that. Yeah, I I agree.
But look at I'm taking us back to porn, right? What was it, Minnesota, and there were like 3 states that have age verification
Yeah,
rules strengthened, right? And
right.
there, those sites completely stopped working, right? Because they decided not to be exposed to that law.
Yeah,
So yeah, money is involved, but you can always go like the hard way. So yeah,
yeah. See, if all the states pass laws like that, then those companies are going to have to say, "Okay, you know what? Wait a
yeah,
second.
we
We are
we gotta have a
losing
solution.
everything.
Yeah.
So let's come up with something that they will accept." Yeah. Well, um, something. This is kind of on the political side. A federal judge yesterday ordered the Biden administration to halt a wide range of communications with social media companies, siding with Missouri and Louisiana in a lawsuit that alleges Biden and his administration violated the First Amendment by colluding with social networks to suppress disfavored speakers' viewpoints and content. This is coming from Ars Technica. So that is interesting. Um, I I I find it really hard to believe that an administration at this point will actually do something like that, knowing somebody is going to whistle, somebody
Well,
is going to say something. I mean, we can't. It's not like Biden and two of his ministers are secretaries are sitting there and doing it. It's a lot of people involved in this. So I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. This will be very interesting to see if it's true.
well, the Twitter files, as they were, presented over time, have presented what looks like documents saying that they've captured text messages, they captured emails that show that the communications were happening there. But the depth and the breadth of it is just the part that we know this has been happening for hundreds of years. It's just now you have a
Yeah.
technical way to do it.
Well, now people
It
have
used to be. It used to be you called the newspaper or you sent a note to the newspaper and say, trash this guy for us.
yeah.
And they did it. So now you just have a lot more people going out and trying to scrub information for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see.
what is the term? Sunlight is the best disinfectant. Have it
Yeah.
out in the open.
Yeah.
Well, it's not medically accurate, but it's
I know,
accurate
but
for
yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
for politics.
Yes.
Indeed, yeah.
All right. So Nick is not here, and I'm sure Spence, you did not do any specials, right?
No, I didn't know that Nick
Yeah.
wasn't going to be here till
So
we just was
I
talking.
came up with I came across a very interesting piece of article yesterday. It has to do with saving money out there on the internet. And the article was talking about the fact that most of us shop on Amazon, and most of the people that shop on Amazon are Prime members. But this is something that I didn't even know. Did you know that Amazon has outlet store?
Yeah.
I've heard that. I just didn't know if there was one locally.
Well, no. Outlet stores on the website that you can go and buy something that is
Oh,
like
returned,
overstock. No,
returned,
oh,
open box.
yeah, something like that. So the writer from this is from Dave's computer tips. So he said, and if you want to do it, do you know how to get there, Gal? Okay,
I don't.
the guy explains. He says, step one, head over to Amazon.com, sign into your account. Once in, look to the top left for the three horizontal menu lines. Click on them. Tell me when you're done.
Click.
So you click
Okay.
on that menu on the left, upper left.
Yep.
The all menu.
Yeah. Step two. After that, you will see a side menu. Scroll down until you find the Programs and Features section. And under that, click on the See All link.
Programs and features.
Yeah. It says
Yeah.
Programs
See
and Features. And then it
Oh
ha-
yeah. Okay.
and then
Amazon
it has
outlet. There it is.
See
Look at that.
All. There's a link that says See
Yeah.
All. This will bring up more options. Look for the ones that says Amazon Outlet and click on it.
Okay.
Here is the outlet store that will save you money on your purchases. And there are categories, and you can
Yeah,
go
and-
in there. And these are things that are, like I said, overstock. I don't know if they are returns. It should
Heavily
say something.
discounted.
Yeah, I think it's.
They're
yeah, I think
discounted.
it's returns. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're discounted.
They make more money auctioning lots of returns.
Well,
You can actually buy pallets of returns, and that's how people stock their
yeah,
So-
but that's how
sites.
vendors stock.
vendor stock.
not-
Yes. No,
not
no.
people.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So Amnon, you asked me if I use it, right?
Yeah.
I do not go to outlet. I am looking for content, right? Or for something to buy.
Yeah.
Sorry, not content, right. But what I do is when I search for something to buy, I do use a plugin, and if there is a better price, I will know immediately visually. The plugin I use is Keepa, Keepa, okay, and you can find it for Firefox, you can find it for Chrome. Note, they are collecting information about you, right? That's how they make money.
Yeah.
And what that plugin does, it shows a couple of things. It shows a graph of a price history of the item you're looking at. So you see for the entire history of that product on that Amazon page, how the price fluctuated,
Mhm.
right? Whether it's so you know now if it's on a high point or on a low point, and if it's on a low point, if it has ever been lower or not. By default, it shows 3 months. You can see the entire history of it. But it also shows the history of all of the other types of sales for that product. So
So you think that the outlets are part?
the outlet is part of that,
Okay.
right? It's so I never go and search specifically from the outlet, and it might be cheaper. But if you do search, right, uh, on the Amazon search bar, then stuff from the outlet comes up, right? And that's usually how I go. I never browse the store.
Okay.
Going to the outlet is about browsing the store, and I don't know how many of us actually do that, right? It's called the everything store, and so I'm not going to browse until the end of time. So it's not. But yeah, if you're looking for bargains, maybe.
Everybody is looking for bargain. I mean, it's
The
not
outlet
an if.
store has a selected for you line too. So
Yeah. And, we do know
Yeah.
that they know you.
I
Right?
need
So
to
it's,
play with it and see if you can things that you buy if you can find them cheaper there. I
It's-
came across this last night and just printed it out and did not
No,
really
that's it's a
check it
good
out.
tip. I'm just saying there are
Yeah,
additional tips, right?
yeah,
Use something that will help you determine
yeah.
whether
So Keepa,
yeah
Keepa.
K-E-E-P Keepa.
Yeah. Okay, so you can also do this on the app, and you said, and it says find your Amazon app and tap on it to open. After that, tap the menu lines. Again, the three horizontal on the bottom. Here it's on the bottom right in the app. And on this screen, tap the deals and savings icon at the top right. This will bring up a menu where you will find the Amazon outlet option. Um, it's interesting. I mean, and the one
By
thing,
the way,
yeah,
there's an easier way to find the Amazon outlet,
mhm.
and it is go to the search, type Amazon outlet, hit enter, you'll find yourself in the Amazon outlet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
I just never knew that there was an Amazon outlet,
yeah.
but
I agree.
it's
It's
interesting.
not like something
The
that I
the
was looking
thing
for either.
that I maybe I didn't look far enough. Can you, like every other um, store on the web, any website, I can't find a way to say, yeah, I want you to list them from cheaper to expensive or from expensive to cheaper and sort them. It There is no such thing. You
There
just
is an
have to.
option, it doesn't work.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
never
I
mind.
I think yeah. When you're searching, when you're using the filters and all that, when you're
Yeah,
searching, then you get an option and it says price from high to low. Uh, um,
on
uh,
Amazon it doesn't. I've
yeah.
never
Yeah,
seen
let's
that.
look for a drill. Okay, so looking at the drill, once you need to choose a department, and once you're in a department, it actually says to sort, you need to choose the department you're looking at, and then you do sort by, and the default one is featured, but there's an option if the machine will work for me. One
Yeah,
second.
highest to
Oh,
lowest,
there
lowest
it
to
is.
Yeah,
It's
highest.
all
Yeah.
the way
but
on
it
the right
doesn't
there.
work. If you look at it,
Oh,
it works. It approximately works. They have this is something that they have never tried to rigorously
that's
fix.
why it's kind of out of the way. Now I
Yeah.
see that. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Huh.
Amnon is learning things today.
I'm learning things today.
You'll be a much more informed shopper now.
The better a consumer, the better a citizen you are.
That's right. You'll score so many more social points so that you'll be able to
Oh,
buy food and all that in the
No,
future.
no, that's a different country.
Okay.
I mean,
Who knows? Maybe that's the goal of the Fediverse is to uh,
No,
secretly collect
I
everything.
actually think not.
No, I'm joking. I
No, I
hope that
know,
it's. I hope
but
they're.
I really think the Fediverse is like a pill of health to this
Yeah.
deformed
huh?
episode. So yeah,
Unless the code is written by the NSA, then we know it's a problem.
well, it's written by so many people. I'm sure the NSA has put some hands there.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not officially. Maybe some. Uh, I just hope that the people from the NSA who are involved are disgruntled employees.
Mm.
So you weren't here earlier, Gal, and when Spence came in, we were talking about it last night. I turn the computer off here in the studio when I'm done with the last show of the month on Monday, and I turn it on back on Saturday evening just to make sure everything is okay. So I turn it on and everything's fine. And I'm going on my laptop that I use here. And I see that it says no internet access.
It
So
finally caught up to you.
I said, what is going on? So I unplugged the Ethernet, plug it back in. In the change adapter options for Ethernet, it said that it didn't say that it's not that it's unplugged. It just says no internet access.
Yeah.
So I rebooted the computer. For a few seconds, it was the square icon versus the round icon when you don't have internet. And then the minute I started the browser, bang, it went to no internet. So I rebooted the switch. It did the same thing. It looked like it was going to work, and then it wouldn't work.
Right.
I said, okay, let me go and try this machine.
No,
The
you
one,
needed to reboot your router, probably DHCP something.
well, I remember I don't do anything DHCP. Everything is static IPs. So I went and tried a different gateway. Oh, it said in there, one of the, when I did on diagnosis, it says gateway is not available.
Okay.
So I said, okay,
Gateway is
let
your
me
router,
change. What?
but the gateway is your router. You just have two. That's
Well,
all.
I've got two of them, one for Google, one
Right.
for AT&T. So I changed to the other one, the same thing. What the hell is going on? So I unplugged the Ethernet from the switch, plug it back in a few times, nothing. And when I unplug it, it shows net plug is network Ethernet plug or network plug is unplugged. Something like that. You plug it back in and it changes something, but there's no internet access. What the hell is going on? So I said, okay, let me try a different cable. So I go and I pick up a cable from the wall. These are all used cables that I kept. Put it in. The same thing. The exact same thing. Nothing is different. No internet access. So I'm changing this and changing that and going back and forth, back and forth. Then I said, okay, let me try and plug it into the other switch that's across the room. I didn't have a long cable. I went in there and got another cable that was long and plug it. Everything works. I said, okay. I unplugged it from the other switch and plugged it, the same cable, into the switch under the desk here. It works. I said, okay, now that's a little bit too much. That the cable went bad. I got another cable, put it in. It was bad too. And then this cable, the longer one, is working fine. That means it's the cable. So I went and I got another short cable. And sure enough, everything is working. So two Ethernet cables, which were the same kind of cable from the same lot because they were pre-made and they were both red. And I mean, it looked like they didn't work. But the long
Do they
one that
pass a tester though?
I did not even try the test. I threw them out. I mean, I was not about to try anything in the
Yeah, I'm
tester.
wondering if they pass a tester though.
I need to
yeah.
try.
Just for yourself,
Yeah.
right? For next time, for it to be part of the
Well,
testing process.
Well, here,
'Cause-
let's yeah. Oh, yeah. I see what you mean.
Yeah, yeah.
Do that. Okay. So yeah, everything is okay. I did what I had to do, and I went to bed. This morning I come in, and we have also the other laptop here that uses the 2K voice when people call in telephone.
Right.
No internet access. What the hell now? What happened now?
The
No
Wi-Fi
internet.
cable is broken.
It is the cable
No,
because
you
I
said the
took.
Wi-Fi cable.
No, it's not on. Oh, and yeah, that's what told me that it has to do. It's not the machine. Is I turned on the Wi-Fi on that first machine and everything worked.
Mm.
So I went to this one and it wouldn't work. I said, okay, that must be the same problem somehow. I took the long cable, put it into the laptop, put it in across the room. Everything is fine.
That's weird. That is weird.
And
Maybe some surge on the switch
so
fried the two
that at this
cables.
point, I'm saying it's got to be the switch. It can, and I'm going to take. I mean, the other two cables are
Yeah,
under the desk here in the trash can. I mean, I can take them out and test them. I didn't think about it. That's a good point.
Remember how I had to set up uh, a smart plug so I could recycle my recast and network once a week because I was getting issues
Yes.
with my.
Yeah.
Well, for some reason when I reconfigured my rack here in the office, I forgot I put the switches on dedicated. Not it was still on the UPS, but not on that plug.
Uh
I
huh.
was like, why did I do that? So the other day, I'm having trouble. I came upstairs, I reset the recasts, and still didn't work. It worked after I reset the switches.
Yeah.
So whatever it was, I remember Amnon. Remember years ago, they called it the packet of death.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
where you
know.
had this
Yeah. You have to.
malformed, but the packet didn't have. It was a short packet that didn't have all the information,
So
and that was a layer two, where the switch would just lose its mind and just roll over and die. And it was actually in the ASICs themselves. It was in the chipset. They couldn't fix it. They couldn't flash the ROM to fix it. They had to actually spin new disks. Oh, it was. I believe this
well,
still happens.
I'm gonna try today. I didn't want to do it last night, so I could go to sleep. I need to try and also reset the main switch that in the office, which connects to the switch under the desk here,
Mm.
and see if that makes any difference. But this was really, I mean, you saw how frustrated I was this morning. I mean,
Oh yeah.
that just doesn't make sense.
Yep. And when you're up against the timeline,
Yeah.
you're not
So
thinking
right
clearly
now,
either.
I left it with the cable strung out on the floor and everything, going to the
Yeah.
other switch just so everything is operational. But yeah, after the show, I'm gonna have to play with it and see what is that thing. What's the if it's a switch, no big deal. I mean, I've got another switch to put there, but it's really, really strange. Really strange.
It's cosmic rays.
Yeah. But
Oh, we
yeah,
did. I mean,
Spence.
there were Gal. Did you have any dips or sags in your power last night during the storm?
No,
We had for about 15 minutes continuous light brownouts. It would go
no,
like you'd
no,
see
no. We
the
were,
lights would dim for like 4 or 5 seconds and come back up again.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
no. Luckily, no.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, and this is on a UPS anyway, so I don't know that it would have made any difference because
Yeah,
this is an
my
oh
UPSs were clicking.
no. You see, this
Yeah.
UPS is online UPS, so it's continuously working off of
Right. Off the UPS. Yeah.
yeah. So it's yeah. I'll update you next week about what it was if I find out. But yeah, point about testing the cable is very good because I mean it's like maybe one wire is bad. That's what I was saying. It's just one wire is bad, and there it
Right.
does. But because it sees it, you plug it in, it changes the error, so to speak.
If you want, I mean, I have different levels of cable testers. Like I have continuity checkers and all that just to say that the cable is wired properly. But if you want,
That's
I have a fluke
now,
cable that will do data transfer tests on it.
now.
Yeah.
I mean, patch cables like these are a dime a dozen, kind of to speak,
Yeah.
and
Was it a Cat 6 cable?
and it was not a Cat
5
6. This
5E?
it was a 5.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the same thing with that cable here. But the port on this laptop, I mean, I'm looking over there and it's connecting at 100 megabits, not at gigabit, because it's got a yellow light on the switch for
Yeah.
that port. But
Have you
it's
ever
fine.
done that mistake where some of the router companies, when they ship you a cable with it, it
Yeah.
doesn't have 8 wires in it. It only has
Yeah,
the
there
4 to
are
support
some, right.
Ethernet.
Yeah.
And so you plug it, you'll never get gig because gig uses all 8 wires. So,
Yeah. Uh,
so you're like, what the heck is wrong? It's a brand new cable. Why isn't it working? You find, oh. So when I get those, I throw them away. They can't have them in the kit. It's just too crazy.
I keep them in the box. I never take them out because there's already a cable there anyway. But actually, the cable I'm using now, I want to say it's a Cat 3, but I'm not sure. It's the first roll that I ever got years ago. It's thin, so it may be even a Cat 3 and not a Cat 5. But
That's it. The electrons got tired, or they couldn't make it through the cable anymore.
yeah, but it works. All right.
Yesterday with the storm, I was thinking about how back in the day when I was doing fiber and deployments on campuses, how there was a condition. It wasn't an electromagnetic thing. It was if there was a fire
Yeah.
in the room with the fiber, that even the fiber could be affected. Just I don't know if it's a temperature thing. I guess it was a temperature thing, but the fiber, even though it looks okay, it might not. It could have tiny little fractures sent through the glass from a fire that would affect like other cables
Hmm.
downstream from them. Yeah. So if there was a fire, you had to go out and change out all the patch cables on the other ends, and if you replace the main cable, obviously, if it was melted. But yeah, there was some type of fire thing that would affect the cables.
Interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay. Here's something that we all use: Signal and WhatsApp and all that. So WhatsApp has announced it is retiring its Electron-based desktop app,
Good.
forcing users to switch to the native app for their OS to continue using WhatsApp. Back when WhatsApp was in its early stages of development, the developers created an app for desktop based on the Electron JavaScript framework. So this is not going to work. So now, Gal, is this the app that I use? Never mind, never mind. I'm not talking about Beeper. Before that, where you bring it up and you scan the QR code and
So
send.
Electron is a framework of software that helps you create web browser like application
Okay.
or applications that rely on web technology, but for the desktop. Okay.
Hmm.
So uh, you can open your browser, your any browser you use, type web.whatsapp.com, and you get practically the same software you're going to get on the Electron
Oh,
application WhatsApp provides. But the Electron one is an executable file that you launch on your desktop and reaches out to that browser, and it allows them to do a bit more. They get more control on the browser side of the application, and so this allows you to run, let's say, WhatsApp in your system tray. Okay, something that on the web browser it's tougher. It's still possible, by the way. But it requires more steps, requires some. So the problem with Electron is, as a framework, it is it is heavy. It is resource intensive. That part of Electron hasn't been resolved yet. I am using at least two Electron-based applications regularly. Uh, One of them is Beeper, by the way.
Mhm.
Beeper is also Electron-based. And another one is Ferdium. Ferdium is basically it's sort of a static browser. Instead of having a lot of tabs and you open a new tab to start a new session, you program those tabs for specific sites, and this allows you can use it as a communication hub of sorts. So it is focused on alerts and notifications, right, and stuff like that. And so it narrows the usage of that browser to just that. That is what I'm using for communication. That's what I used for WhatsApp for a while, uh, because just running Electron for a single application, uh, it's just it. You can. It's better that you buy a phone and have WhatsApp on that phone alone, and instead of
Mhm.
resource wise on the machine. It's just too heavy. The reason I'm saying good is up until now, let's say you wanted to do video calls over WhatsApp from a computer, the only option would be their Electron app. I think by them saying we're not going to issue the Electron app anymore, it'll probably be available on Chromium based browsers like Chrome or Edge, maybe even on Firefox. That would be great, right? Because that will allow me freedom. Whatever platform I'm using, I can do a video call on WhatsApp. Terrific. I see it as a win for the users. Not
The
needing to run that application, that is a win for the users. The solution is if you really want that notification on separate from the browser, and I completely understand that, use something like Fredium. Fantastic, right? Very easy to use. Doesn't hog your information in any different than any other browser, right? And you can run it on your own, on your end. It doesn't matter what platform it'll work.
it says anyone visiting the Electron based app just sees a screen saying app expired. The deprecated app hopefully links to the native WhatsApp desktop app available on the Microsoft Store or the Mac App Store. The
They
new,
have a native one.
yeah, the
I
new
take my
native,
words back. Sorry.
what?
They are evil.
Well, the new native app has been stable for around a year now, but is still relatively new. Some users may lament the transition period was too short, or the native app still doesn't have all the functionality for business users, like catalog management and quick replies, if
Right.
they would be right. And they would be right. So yeah, they did away with that and they came up with the uh, native app.
Yeah. You see, that's why I didn't even know about the native app. Like, that's why I was congratulating them.
Yeah.
They're evil.
Oh well. Oh, all right. Who needs a GPU?
For free?
Everybody. Huh?
A
For
GPU
free?
for
Yeah,
you?
a GPU. Inflection AI, an AI startup company, has built a cutting edge supercomputer equipped with 22,000 NVIDIA H100 GPUs.
Mm.
For those unfamiliar with Inflection AI, it's a business that aims at creating personal AI for everyone. The company is widely known for its recently introduced Inflection 1 AI model, which powers the Pi chatbot. Although the AI model doesn't yet reach the level of ChatGPT or Google's Lambda models, uh, reports suggested that Inflection 1 performs well on common sense tasks, making it much more suitable for applications such as personal assistance. 22,000 NVIDIA H100 GPUs. Now, that's not 22,000 cards. This is 22,000 chips, I guess. But that is insane. It's just insane. No wonder NVIDIA is doing good.
I haven't bought a new video card in a long time.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Huh?
I just haven't needed it.
And you mentioned Reddit. Yeah. So Reddit is fighting another attempt by film companies to unmask anonymous Reddit users who discussed piracy. The same companies lost the previous similar motion to identify Reddit users who wrote comments in piracy related threads. Reddit avoided revealing the identities of 8 users by arguing there only 8 users.
Well, the lawsuit was against eight
Yeah,
users,
I guess.
probably. So yeah.
Arguing that the First Amendment protected their right to anonymous speech. Reddit is seeking a similar outcome in the new case, in which the film company's subpoena to Reddit sought basic account information, including IP address, registration, and logs from 1/1/2016 to present. Name, email, address, and other account registration information for 6 users who wrote comments on Reddit threads in 2011 and 2018. Just because you discussed piracy. I mean, you could have gone
Well,
in.
we don't know what was in this the
That's
discussion and
correct.
why they
Yeah.
signal.
Yeah.
But I mean, kudos for Reddit, right? Um,
Yeah. Absolutely kudos for Reddit.
by the way, I'm like I understand the I want that protection as well,
Sure.
right? Uh, but citing first free speech, right, does not really account for anonymous speech. There's nothing about free speech being anonymous in
Anonymous.
the
Yeah.
Constitution, right? And somehow they keep on winning. So good for them. I like the idea, but keep in mind it's not. It's never part of the free speech um, argument, right? Not really. Free speech argument is always roped into it. Anonymous speech is not free speech. So I just I know I'm a party pooper on this. I really want this distinction to always be clear.
Oh,
Free speech is free speech, but it's not about being anonymous because that's important because anonymity can be used also for other things, right? Not just for
sure.
expression.
Yeah.
So
And be careful with texts. A Saskatchewan, well, not just text, a Saskatchewan judge says an emoji can amount to a contractual agreement and ordered a farmer to pay more than $82,000 for not delivering products to grain buyer after responding to a text message with a thumbs up image. So if you're you're talking with somebody in over text and you promise them something and you give them a thumbs up, that can be a contractual agreement, they say.
oh yeah, I would agree.
Oh,
You acknowledged,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
What if you only said okay?
I don't know. This was with
This
an
is a
emoji.
verbal handshake.
Yeah.
It's exactly like a verbal handshake, right?
Yep.
It's I see no problem with that.
Yeah, no, you just need to be careful.
I understand that if you're doing business like that, yeah,
Yeah,
you need to be verbose, not succinct.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was a lot of stuff being discussed in the last few years about 5G and uh,
Of course, that's what brought us coronavirus, right?
airline. So it says the July 1st deadline for the U.S. airline industry came and went, and not much happened. We're not aware of any disruptions specifically related to 5G over the weekend, wrote the director of communications for Flight Radar.
Now, there are
Flight Radar 24.
plenty of other disruptions to take the place.
Well, but apparently 5G is
Oh,
not.
wait. You're saying because of 5G, that is why all of the flights are delayed?
No, they're saying they didn't. Yeah, that's
Was
right.
yeah,
Because just thinking about it delays them.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
So
there
it's
were a lot of delays July 4th just because of the volume and then
yeah,
storms and all that stuff. So, and
yeah.
shortages. They finally admitted that one of the problems they have is that they're short staffed and they don't have enough pilots. They don't have enough ground crew.
That they fired everyone. Nobody wants to come back and
Yeah.
work for the
Yeah.
same
Same operation.
yeah,
Yep.
for the same deal. Yeah.
Did you guys hear about what's going on in France
Oh, yeah.
with
Yep.
violence and all that? So President Emmanuel Macron is partially blaming video games for the spread of violence in
Oh,
France
come on.
following the shooting death of a teenager during a police traffic stop in a
I
Paris.
say he missed he missed this. He should blame news coverage of US shooting.
Well, he says if sometimes feels like some of them are experiencing on the streets the video games that have intoxicated them. He added that protesters are using Snapchat and TikTok to organize themselves and spread a mimicking of violence, which for the youngest leads to a kind of disconnect from reality. So, I mean, this was how many years has this been going on?
What?
That games are blamed on all
Since
kind of things.
since the 80s.
Yeah, but here's the president that's saying that, and I wonder.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, well. Let's see what else. Now, because of all that, what's going on in France, the country has just passed a new bill that will allow police to remotely access suspects' cameras, microphones, and GPS on cell phones and other devices.
yeah, I read about that.
This is reported by Le Monde. The bill
I'm
has.
guessing though that this is by warrant, right? It's just
I didn't
I'm
read the
not
whole
really
thing.
understanding the technology side of it. Like who is going to comply? The cell companies? That's what I don't understand, right? Is it Google and Apple who are going to comply? It's like how are they going to access it?
Well, it says here police can activate cameras and microphones to take video and audio recording of suspects. The bill will reportedly only apply to suspects in crime that are punishable by a minimum of 5 years in jail. And Justice Minister Eric Dupont
How do,
claimed,
how do they know what
yeah,
crime they're committing that is 5 years if they haven't investigated it yet?
Okay, it says
Yeah, it's
French.
always part
Well,
of an investigation, right? But it's like,
so French politicians added an amendment that orders judge approval for any surveillance
Yeah.
conducted under the scope
yeah,
of the bill and limit the duration of surveillance to 6 months. But that's a long time.
yeah.
For
Well, I mean,
organized crime, the police can have access to the sound and image of a device. This concerns any connected device: telephone, speaker, microphone, computer camera, computer system of a car, all without the knowledge of the person concerned.
yeah. I just don't understand the
That's
technology side. I understand everything about this. It's horrifying, of course.
yeah,
I just don't understand the compliance side.
well,
Because if it basically means, right, that there is an assumption that all of these technology purchased by citizens in France, right, will need to comply to it. So what is in there? And if technology wise, I can I can buy the hardware, right, and I can replace the firmware, am I violating any laws, right? Because I do not want to be surveilled.
right,
And if
Mm.
I'm not violating any laws, or if I am violating any laws, right, it's like, then that becomes a problem because I can't do anything I want with cell phones. It's like, I do not understand where. Remember, where if we go back to the, I think, the 90s, right? FBI had black boxes in,
yeah,
I think they still have, right, in switchboards, right, for switchboards, telephone switchboards, and they can tap in whenever they have a warrant. Um, so it's not that different from that. But my question is, where is the compliance? Are they talking about on the device, or are they talking about in the switchboard, which is two different things, right?
Could be both.
Yeah. So that's the vague part of the
if
article.
it's in the device, that means that all these manufacturers already
They
have.
comply, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, and that is a problem,
yeah,
right? Uh, if it's on the switchboards, it's another problem, but that can be circumvented by end-to-end encryption, right? So it's like, where am I as a citizen? Am I protected? And yes, by protecting me, the citizen, it will also protect criminals. But uh, still, my privacy is important to me, so I want to understand this.
yeah,
I've always had this idea as we watch television and shows, popular shows now, and streaming shows about crime, about how law enforcement officers are regularly seen breaking the rules for the good of the investigation. Like you'll see a guy go out, and, oh, we need to get this information. And so, oh, don't worry about it, I'll get it. And you see the guy with his little pick set opening the door to get into the apartment and do an illegal search. Are we being numbed to this to show? Oh,
Well,
it's yeah, you
to
know what I'm
that
saying?
point, then,
It's yeah, it's you just see it's just part of you watch a popular TV show now. They're always sliding one way or the other to we had to do it because they were guilty, and do we're kind of okay with that?
so to your point, if you look at trends, right, then up until mid 2000s, early 2000s, right, that is the case. It's definitely a numbing process. If you go, if you go after that, there is a lot of emphasis on procedure, right? Shows like Law and Order and stuff
Yeah,
like that, where the procedure, while hindering, right, is also shown how it is used properly and can be effective. So it really depends. Shows like The Wire, right,
yeah,
where procedure was key, and when you see it done that way, you are actually impressed, right? You're actually impressed by the system, and you root for the system, because even though they are after the bad guys, they're not they're not disintegrating morals. right? And that's the balance act that we need to play, right? It's always complex. I agree with you. A lot of early shows, that's exactly what they did. They numbed us to this, and they got the good old guys, right, saying, "I do not think wrong," right? Then everything can be in the open. But no, privacy is important. It is key to our identity. I'm with you on this.
Yep.
When I see that on in a TV show, a fictional TV show, it bugs me, right? So
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you watch what is it? CSI Cyber, it's unbelievable what they do. I mean, it's all fictional, but who knows?
I mean, I was when we were talking about this, I just went and looked for. I couldn't remember the name of the network that the NSA set up for internet surveillance. It was Prism,
yeah,
and I was reading about the details, and I wonder how that would apply to other telecommunications. And the key to it is they have code embedded in the base system. They're inside of the encryption firewall, and they have a way of getting through it through their own encryption back to their where they gather information. So,
Uh,
remember we had articles about that uh, from the Chinese side. Don't
right,
remember
and
the name of
the
the
whole uh, why was the 5G stuff now being tossed out in so many countries because they were concerned about the backdoors
Chinese
that were built
5G,
into Chinese.
yeah, yeah,
What was the name? I don't remember the name of the company. I
Huawei.
can't.
yeah. I don't remember either.
Huawei. Yeah, that's right. Huawei. The early days of Huawei, they, they were exposing. They'd go in and look at the code, and they'd actually find the Cisco engineers' notes in in the firmware. It was amazing. It was so blatant, and they didn't care. And they just reverse engineered it, and oh, the code works. We'll put our name on it, and we'll use it.
Uh, all right, uh, Gal, you were going to say something?
No.
Oh, all right. Of the many acts that can get an Amazon merchant kicked off the site, few are as devastating as selling stolen goods. Amazon calls the behavior illegal and strictly prohibited, and those accused of such activity can be permanently suspended. Dozens of small Dozens of small businesses have been booted from Amazon in recent months for purportedly hawking stolen goods from home appliance brands such as Breville, Keurig, Levoit, and Shark Ninja. But suspended sellers who spent years building their businesses on Amazon told CNBC they had no idea they were selling stolen goods. Amazon has provided limited evidence to back up its claims, sellers said, leaving them scrambling to find the problematic merchandise. To try to get reinstated and save their $1 million business from potential collapse, they've taken it upon themselves to discover if they unsuspectingly bought stolen goods from one of the many wholesalers, closeout businesses, and distributors that supply their Amazon inventory. So it is getting to the point where if you read this and go along with what they're saying, yeah, I didn't know I bought stolen stuff. I'm buying it from the person that I always bought. It all looks right. They provide they're wholesalers and all, but it seems like
What's
Amazon
the
doesn't care. What?
What's the difference between the storefront on Manhattan's
Right.
8th Avenue to this? Like,
Shouldn't be any.
what is so just the reach? I understand that there's a different reach, but what's the difference legally?
There shouldn't be any. I
Right.
don't think there is. I don't think even if you sell something yourself, if you sell something that is uh that's fake, and the person you sold it to personally go to the police, you can get in trouble. Okay, where did you get it? What?
Right.
Yeah,
But my responsibility will to cooperate and show the trace, right?
yeah,
That's the part of my responsibility. So if I am
absolutely.
unaware, right, I probably wouldn't be penalized, but my penalty will be to be involved in the investigation,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And that's fine. If I'm aware, that's a completely different thing. That there's a completely different sets of values involved here, right? But I'm talking as a law-abiding citizen, right?
yeah.
If I got something from somebody that was stolen and I did not know about it, like it's like there's an expectation that everybody will walk with a deed of purchase for everything, right? You know what? Come up with a system that does that, maybe, right?
Mm,
But right now, that doesn't exist, and we're not going to be culpable for that.
And I
yeah.
wonder how deep the investigative team is at Amazon that once they suspect or find out that something's stolen, how they just eliminate that vendor, even if the vendor has evidence to say, look, I just bought it from the same place that all these other vendors buy from. Why would I be singled out? I don't know.
Yeah, so that's another part, right? How many times Amnon has been a stream has been shut down because of some sort of
Yeah,
claim,
right.
and you fall on mute ears because you can't deal. There's nobody to
To com-
bring
to
your grievance
counter.
to,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a new television show coming out. It's going to be Law and Order, Amazon distributors.
Never see the light of day. All right. Um, if you make a purchase with no, let's say that your card is stolen and somebody is going and spending money. What happens
It depends on your card.
in most cases?
Yeah, most cases. Well, they if
They cover it.
I have City
You're
Card
insured.
for my main credit card, and they do an excellent job of detecting.
Never mind protecting. Somebody
No,
already spent money.
no, detecting
Yeah.
and shutting and letting me know. And if it's a fake, uh, I've had it happen several times.
That
They'll contact me and say, "You just charged
right. But
two taxi rides in Latvia." You know,
that's the company. But in the basics, if somebody spends money on a
Right.
card that they got that your card that was stolen through giving it to a waiter,
right,
then the credit card company will not charge you for those.
right. Who pays for it?
Right. Well,
Well,
first you'll see the charge,
yeah,
then you'll
then
dispute it, and you'll
correct.
go through a dispute process. Yeah.
Yeah. MasterCard is selling a new artificial intelligence powered tool that helps banks more effectively spot their customers are trying to send money to fraudsters.
Mm.
9 of the UK biggest banks, including Lloyds Banking, NatWest, and Bank of Scotland, have signed up to use the Consumer Fraud Risk System. Trained on years of transaction data, the tool helps to predict whether someone is trying to transfer funds to an account affiliated with unauthorized push payment scams. This type of fraud involves tricking a victim into moving money into an account falsely posing as a legitimate payee, such as a family member, friend of a business. The tool comes as UK Bank prepare for new rules from the payment system regulator that will require them to compensate customers affected by APP scams from 2024.
Good.
Historically, banks haven't been liable for this type of fraud. If
Well,
somebody steals your card and charges, you are covered. But if
Yeah,
you,
but hold on. The reason we are covered, right, is because this is how credit cards were sold to you in the first place. You're
yeah,
insured,
yeah,
right? They said, use us. We'll take a snip of the coupon, right? We'll take a coupon on it, but we're insuring you. Banks never claim to do that.
well, it says historically, banks haven't been liable for this type of fraud, although some signed a voluntary agreement to pay back victims.
Yeah,
But the point here is that it's different if you are actually giving the money to an account, you're authorizing it, so to speak.
right.
Say, hey, go get it, versus somebody using it illegally, using your number, your card number and stuff. So that's
Yeah.
two different ways.
Well, there's another aspect here that I understand why banks should be liable here. Uh, so banks, they have the ability, they are exposed to the other end, basically,
Right.
right? And if they're not, they at least have a way of they should have a way of detecting whether
It's legit or not.
endpoint
Yeah.
an endpoint is doing legitimate transactions. If suddenly a new endpoint is getting tens of transactions from different locations,
Right.
it should be vetted out, right?
Right. And
It's
that's where,
part of their requirement today because of all of the money laundering schemes of the past, right?
right.
So they're already culpable by law to that. So yeah, that
So,
works. It's not about regulation that limits or
no,
anything. I do have one problem though, right? When we talk about our search engine history, we're like screaming throughout our lungs about data collection. And here, right, they developed AI based on what? On all of that data of transactions, right? Something that is a lot more personal and private to us. And suddenly there's an AI based on that.
no. So the president of cyber and intelligence at Mastercard described those scams as a huge problem that banks have historically struggled to detect because victims' accounts aren't compromised.
Yeah,
Clients voluntarily make the transfer and
yeah,
so pass many of the security checks used to identify other types of fraud, such as unauthorized payment.
yeah.
So yeah, so they came up with a tool, AI powered, that will allow. So maybe now banks will be able to do it, and I don't know why it's just in the UK.
Well, just because of the laws set in the UK right now, making them liable. So that's why
Uh,
they're starting there.
oh yeah, that's
But
true. Yeah,
so I wonder. So this is July 9, right? I wonder how long it will take until we hear the first outcry of a customer whose bank account was shut down because the AI decided it was fraudulent when it was not.
good point. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah,
Suddenly, the dry cleaning business is shut down and bankrupt because of an
yeah,
AI or something
yeah.
like that.
Because
So,
we had a whole bunch of people
yeah,
waiting in line to pay, and
yeah.
yeah, that's um, interesting. Also, something like this would happen. I had a
And of
situation.
course, remember, it'll blame the algorithm.
Yeah, of course. And here is an algorithm that I had interaction with, kind of.
Yeah,
I maintain and update quite a few WordPress sites. I go in, I do the updates, I get out. I go to the next one, do the updates, get out, and I do it once every week, once every 2 weeks. We implemented something that if somebody logs in bad with a bad password, other than WordFence that we use for WordPress sites, it also just the server logs spit it out, and we add them to the firewall so they can't get in. Well, this week I did the updates, and after a few of them, I start getting notifications that I, it's unreachable. What is going on? So I go and I look and I look and I look, and I don't see anything wrong anywhere. So I get Ron and I said, "Hey, look, I don't know where else to look." And it was a stupid thing. I mean, my IP got blacklisted
Okay.
because, I mean, it's normally somewhere where I can, where it won't happen, but I was doing something that I took it out in order to test. And he said, "Oh, he said, I found that out on other servers too. That if you go in and out of a few uh, WordPress sites, log in, log out, log into another one, log out, log into another one, log out, it figures that you are a bad actor and
Mm.
it blacklists you."
Yep.
What about
So
people that are paid to maintain WordPress sites for people? They
what?
get the same problem? Oh, it's different IDs, I guess.
It,
Well,
no, it's no. This is because we added a feature. It's very
Oh, I
raw.
see.
It's
Okay.
very raw. I mean, hey, if you see uh, in the log that there was logging again and again, then apparently something. He said that he couldn't figure it out, but he will and correct it. But I mean, after I went back and whitelisted it, it was fine. I don't have that problem. But it's interesting, and yeah, that's algorithm. And somebody come 2024, we're going to have, it's going to be sort of like Y2K in the UK. We'll wait and see. But
we're
people
gonna
could,
fight the AI.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Well, all right. After announcing a new electric car strategy last month, Toyota is now claiming it has made a technological breakthrough that will allow it to cut the weight, size, and cost of batteries in half.
Wow.
The company claims it has developed ways to make a solid state battery with a range of 745 miles that
Don't tell
could,
me it's like Soylent Green. It's gonna be people, right?
I don't know, and it could be charged in 10 minutes
Nice.
or less and would be simpler to manufacture than a conventional lithium ion battery.
I mean, it's interesting. I have a problem with one thing.
Yeah,
They're claiming to have a breakthrough, right?
yeah.
They're 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 advertising it now, and they're claiming very shortly it'll be there, right? You know when was the first time I heard about OLED panels
Yeah.
for display? That was 2002,
And here it
Mhm.
is, came
right?
out just in the last few.
And it came out probably 2014, 15. It started to be uh,
Of,
priced that
yeah,
not millionaires can buy them,
yeah.
right? So yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. I hope it's not just a lot of um, uh, hoopla
Vaporware.
and yeah, vaporware. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll see.
yeah.
I mean, I'm all for it. Let's see.
There was a story. I don't think I printed it, but it was interesting. A few weeks ago, yeah, I did. A few weeks ago, we were talking about the fact that some students somewhere uh, invented a way or discovered a way to make electricity out of the humidity in the air.
Hey, that's interesting.
And yesterday or day before yesterday, there was a story that came out and they said that students that did that explained that it was an accident, by accident, that they did that. They were working on a sensor to find to something about humidity in the air. And when they were running it, and it's made, I mean, it's not just a little bitty sensor with the horse thing or whatever the older ones that the humidity was. This was an electronic piece of equipment that they built, and they forgot to plug it in. And they found out afterwards that it was working even though it wasn't plugged in. And they went back to look at it and realized that this is what was happening. That it was actually converting the humidity from the air into I mean, it's minuscule. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
hardly any type of power, but just the fact.
But if you can harvest it,
Yeah. And if you can make it bigger, it will be
Huge.
well, interesting. The humidifier.
perpetual energy.
Hey, dehumidifier.
Look, all of the YouTube channels claiming perpetual energy, they have like millions of subscribers. So I say, let's say perpetual energy, like 5 times. Maybe it'll help.
Well,
It's interesting.
yeah,
I agree.
it is. And this was at the University of Massachusetts in Massachusetts. Excuse me, Massachusetts in Elmhurst. So it's even though it was by accident, hey, they still get the credit. They should, right? They developed it somehow.
I think we should all just grow lots of potatoes and use the potato
You could.
battery.
Yeah, you could. You could leave it in the ground and just put probes in there.
Put the nails in it. Yep.
Yeah. It'll work. All right. It's this time of day. Anything anybody else? Any of you want to add, bring up, talk about?
Oh, I'm off to my summer adventure, and I'll
That's right.
try
You'll
to
be gone
try to
for how
stay
long?
10 weeks,
10 weeks.
and I'll be back. I'll try to.
Alaska is calling.
It's calling. Yeah, it's got temperatures in the high 40s overnight. Been checking the temperature in Fairbanks. Yep, Denali's even down into a couple of times into the upper 30s.
Yeah, Yuval is going to an Alaskan
Bruce?
cruise in 3 weeks. I said, "Yeah, you trying to get away from the Vegas heat?"
Yeah, oh yeah,
And he said, "Well, that too."
yeah,
Yep.
Well, enjoy.
yeah. It'll be good.
Be
It'll
safe.
be it'll be interesting to see how things are going this year compared
So
to
you're
last.
leaving tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow midday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
But you're going alone.
But Pam is coming up in 3 weeks.
Oh.
Yeah, she's going to be there
Maybe.
for a month. She's not working this time. So, but I have a place to stay where we have our own room and bathroom. So that's good. It's a house, but we're sharing it with some other people. But it's a good circumstances for us. So
Nice.
don't have to worry about sharing a bathroom with a bunch of slobby guys. And
Ah,
let me tell you, there are some
sloppy guys.
slobby guys.
All right. Gail, you're back for a while.
I'm back.
Did you have a good time up in Canada? Good.
Yeah. Spending time with family is always it's always good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, guys. Well, thanks. Spence, have a safe trip.
Yep.
Kyle, thanks. And say hi to Mati. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie and Dana, Dina, Mati, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov and Yael. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. And change any same password that wherever you use them. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. Nick is on Wilmington's 980 The Wave and 107.9 FM. You can tell you with his daily news and commentary show, you can tell your Echo device to play 980 The Wave during that time and hear him live. Or later on, you can go to the recordings at nickcraig.com. And Tuesdays at 7 p.m., Nick and Brian do the Infection podcast on Twitch. Survival games, gaming news, and some political commentary. So that's Tuesday evening, 7 p.m., twitch.tv/infection podcast. Take care, everybody. We'll be back together next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.